It's time to down tools for a bit. Welcome to the Tool Shed, the influential podcast for anyone and everyone involved in the building industry. Here's your host, Mick Hawes.
Hello, folks. Welcome to another episode of the Tool Shed podcast. As you're well aware, and I say this every time, that we're always looking for tools and people and philosophies and ideas and services that can just make running a construction business, a building business, or a trades-based business easier, more efficient, more enjoyable, more profitable, whatever it is, just better. And in our search to find more resources that we can talk to you about and introduce you to, we have found Peter Daly, and he is the general manager of AroFlo. And AroFlo is basically a workflow software, project management or job management software, and we're going to hear a whole bunch about it in just a moment. Peter, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
How much of that did I get wrong?
You did a surprisingly good job. I might put you on the sales team. Hey?
You did a surprisingly good job. I don't know whether to take that as a compliment or,
it's a good
backhanded insult. You sound surprised, but great to have you on the show. As I said, we're always looking for things that we can introduce to the building industry that can make their job better, faster, easier, and more enjoyable. To get started, tell us a little bit about your backstory, because you're obviously running the show in Australia with this platform, but something must have happened to you in your younger life to cause you to go in this direction. Tell us the story.
Yeah, sure. So I spent many, many years in field service organisations like Schindler Elevators and Otis Elevator.
Yeah.
It gave me a background and love for field service management. I got a tap on the shoulder subsequently to go and run Simpro in Australia, and fell in love with the software that services these organisations and the impact they can have on an organisation, and now have been with AroFlo for about a year and a half and loving it.
So I was reading on the website that the creator of AroFlo, it happened due to an accident. So a guy was a tradesman or an electrician from memory. I was an electrician back in a past life, and it is bizarre how many people I've spoken to in this podcast where their product, their business, what have you, has sort of come out of some sort of physical challenge, an accident, a disaster, or what have you. So what's that story?
Yeah, so Guy Arrowsmith was the founder, or is the founder. He had an accident at work, realised he probably couldn't spend the rest of his life on the tools and had to get in the office. Did a coding course, found that, strangely enough, he quite loved coding and was actually pretty good at it. And so he actually started building a scheduling tool for the technicians in his building, and it just grew from there. Then eventually, a few years later, he went out on his own as a piece of software, and 2,960 customers across Australia and New Zealand as of yesterday is where it's at.
And can you name them all, please?
Yeah, sure. Starting with A. Yeah.
I'm sure you've committed them to memory because that's what you do. So tell us a little bit about AroFlo. Before I pressed the go button, we were talking about your biggest competition or opposition, really, is a spreadsheet. And like I'm a big fan of Dan Sullivan. I don't know whether you've heard of him. Really amazing business coach in the States, and he's written a metric ton of books, one of which is Who Not How. And whilst you might be creating something that is tailored to your specific needs, I just am an absolute believer on finding out who rather than how, and building your own tool seems to be, a bit of a waste of time when there are other tools out there that have got far more flexibility and facility than what you can build with a spreadsheet. Tell us about AroFlo.
Sure. We have competitors, no ifs or buts about that.
Yeah.
But still, there is so much wood to chop in the space of companies coming across to companies like ours who are using spreadsheets, whiteboards, things like that. That is the vast majority of our customers where they come from.
Yeah. Um, you made me laugh when you said whiteboards, because it's just like in this day and age, there is, particularly in a construction business, there is that much that you've got to keep track of. I don't think you could have a whiteboard big enough, and
Mhm.
and it's not all of that portable either, I don't believe, driving around with a 3 by 1 meter whiteboard in your pocket is a,
Yeah,
is a little
it can be towed.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, it can
Yeah,
be towed.
yeah, little trailer with a
The
whiteboard on it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very good
And
idea.
look, we've seen some pretty impressive spreadsheets in our time, right?
Yeah.
As the customers say, we go, "What are you using right now?" And they said, "Look, we're using this spreadsheet, and it's macro to hell, but still, it's only good at a few things. It doesn't take into the whole business process from selling through to delivery and operations." So, yeah, it's generally when they're coming to us, they realise they do need something more to make themselves more efficient, get the job done better, be more compliant, because we all know compliance is king nowadays,
Mm.
to make them a better company and a more competitive company out there.
Yeah. Um, Tell me about the UI. And I'm using a bit of jargon there. That's user interface for those
Yes.
non-techie people. The reason I asked the question is that many, many moons ago, I had a great idea, and and I was just listening to an audio book by Keith Cunningham the other day. It's called "The Road Less Stupid," and he says, if you look back at some of your biggest problems, you'll find that they all started with a great idea. and, and I thought, that is exactly right. Anyway, I thought I had this idea for a software program for procedures and systems for small businesses. We built it. It was the biggest white elephant. But the thing that I learned through that process is it's really, really difficult to create a really effortless, user-friendly user interface. And it's
Yeah.
really easy to create something that's super complicated, like your own spreadsheet. And somebody that's never seen it before or wasn't involved in the creation of it will probably freak out when they see it. So tell us about AroFlo, its user interface and its ease of use.
Yeah, so we've taken 20 years to get where we've got to so
Yeah.
far. Um, Constantly evolving the UI or interface, trying to reduce clicks, improve the workflow, keeping in mind that we're a one-to-many business. So one piece of software that suits many.
Yeah.
And so any change over here that we make, what's the impact on workflows over here that we make? So we have dedicated UI people working full time, just improving where customers' feedback is, "Ooh, you know what, this could be better." So they're constantly evolving the product and also to designing the UI for new features that have come out.
Yeah. So what would what are the most common uses for AroFlo? What sort of trades use them, and what do they specifically use AroFlo for, you find?
Yeah, sure. So I'll start with question number two first. So normally our customers use service workflows, so maintenance and repair, and also projects.
Yeah.
Now, to be honest, you're not going to build Wembley Stadium on our projects, but $3, $4, $5 million projects, no problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have the service maintenance. Ad hoc repair sort of workflows as well. The customer base is wide and varied, and the standard verticals we have: plumbing, electrical, solar, HVAC. In fact. Tree lopping is big with us. It's just one of those things that have just taken off. Basically, anything that you're sending someone out to do something, we can fit into our workflows.
Yeah.
But so we have large compliance section of AroFlo as well. I remember back in the days when I was in field service, with some customers, and I'm not naming those customers, of course, that compliance was actually more important than the work you did on site, to be honest. And so that's a big part of AroFlo as well, with developing your own forms, checklists, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I know that just getting back to the user interface, because I am a bit nerdy and I love this sort of stuff, that some platforms, not necessarily a project management, or I'm just talking about platforms that you can use both on a computer browser and on a mobile device, particularly a telephone. The phone application often is really, really pared back to the point where it's almost like phone number, address, and some notes, and that's about all you can retrieve from that contact record or from that part. So tell us about AroFlo's mobile app and what you can access and the value of having that information in your pocket.
Yeah, so we've developed and we recently launched a new app. I think it was in December, but you can, from our app, I mean, generally the type of work that you do in the office is quite different to the work you do in the field, and that's a no-brainer, right? So generally the office users will have a lot more detail and whatnot, and as you say, it's pared back a little bit. We've gone a step further, and you can happily quote in the field from our app. You can get sign off, you can get paid in the field as well. So it suits anybody who's on the tools, and also too in quoting capability, or for the technician who needs to take a photo, get sign off from the customer, add stock to a quote, add stock to something they've used, so it'd be quoted back in the office. You can see job history, who the customer is, where to go. You can log you as well where that technician's been, for safety mainly. For safety reasons mainly, but also to say, hey, Mr. Customer, we're actually there. So yeah, we've been able to find a happy balance between too little information and too much, and too many clicks.
Yeah.
So, and that's really important when you're in the field, because the guys and girls just really want to get jobs done.
Yeah.
And not mess around.
Yeah. No, it sounds wonderful. And I guess that the types of businesses that are using this, I'm assuming that they have the opportunity to give you feedback. I've talked to a bunch of other, generally builders software platforms, and some of them are really, really open and encouraging of feedback, and others it's almost impossible to contact them to give them any feedback.
Yeah.
Where do you guys stand with that? How important is feedback from your customers?
Absolutely. So every ticket that's raised from our customers that say, hey, I'd really like this, we collect that, and then we group it, and then we analyze it and say, hey, does it have reach? What sort of reach does it have with our current portfolio? What would be the impact on our customers? How cool would this be? And then what's the cost and what's the effort? And so we call it a RICE score. And so in some cases, we might find that this particular feature can be put onto one of the major development teams, but we could slide in some of these other little tickets as well. So we're constantly evolving our product. We're releasing every couple of weeks of either new features, improvements, that sort of thing. So it's constantly evolving. To a point where I guess my major problem is that customers don't notice some of the new features that are coming through. They may not have read their emails, they may not have seen their pop-ups, they may not have seen the in-app advertising, and so they're missing out on what is essentially some great new features that are free. So that is my main communication problem, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I can't understand why they're not reading the messages. Like, it's not as if people get lots of messages every day. Like,
you need another email, and
I only get one or two emails a day.
Yeah. But what I really love, is when you release a new feature, and we released this new feature the other week. It was a measurement calculator, so you can quote and sell in square meters. So it's great for finishing trades, right? And what's awesome to see that we hadn't promoted it, and we still haven't promoted it yet, but customers are already saying, "Oh, what's that new little icon?" And you start to see people take off. So watching the stats of an app being released, not even promoted, and then customers going, "Wow, what's that?" And they're starting to quote it. I find that exciting. But
Yeah.
you reckon you're a geek? You reckon you're a geek? Yeah. Yeah.
I think we can have a competition. Hey, I'm Mick Hawes from Builders Business Black Belt, and I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Toolshed podcast. I've got something super exciting I want to share with you. We've got a place that's got a whole bunch more free resources to help you with your building business. In fact, there's a whole other podcast that gives you specific training that will help you get more free time, more profit, and more enjoyment from your building business. And it's called, funnily enough, the Toolshed. It's free to join, and it's full of other success-focused builders. And I invite you to join us in the Toolshed, where you can ask me questions and get guidance and support from other successful builders. Just click the link in the description to join, and I'll see you in there. I hope you enjoy the rest of this podcast. Quick question that just popped into my mind there, thinking geek, was I'm just imagining if a builder was using this and potentially their electrician, their plumber, their plasterer was on the same platform, is there any advantage in relation to communication, more effortless communication with pricing and where we're at with a particular project if we're all singing off the same page of the hymn book?
Well, I'm actually going to put you on my sales team, I think, because
Okay.
we have a product.
All
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
now you're
So
talking.
yes, please. We have a product called Arrow Connect. So what it allows companies on AroFlo to do is to exchange work orders, invoices, all that sort of stuff seamlessly. So there's no paperwork; it's all done electronically, and that's really starting to take off. In addition to that, we have a small downstream product called AroFlo Go, which is awesome for the one-man band, the two-man band. And so what some of our customers are doing is saying they put touch their noggin and gone, you know what we can actually do is that we've got subbies, a lot of subbies that we use a lot.
Yep.
They go and purchase AroFlo Go and give them that app.
Nice.
And therefore, all that interaction between all their subbies that they really love and use a lot is all electronic, and they're doing away with paperwork, admin tasks, the whole shoot and match. So it's had a really good take up. We're really happy with it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I did have another nerdy, geeky question that arose a little while ago, and I forgot to ask it. But you were talking about doing quoting. You can potentially do quoting on site. And I was just wanting to know where the information gets taken from pricing, from a pricing point of view. So if they're putting a quote together and prices have changed, how does the pricing in app gets updated? Like how does that all work so the quote's accurate?
Yeah, so we've got a bunch of catalog integrations. So
Cool.
the two bigger ones I'm thinking of are Reese and Rexel and stuff like that, of where those pricing sheets are updated. So you're pulling the most frequent pricing out each time you're quoting, whether it be in the field or in the office.
And is that something that you guys like? Does that happen automatically for the user? Is it you guys that are uploading the new price list, or does the individual user have to do that?
Yeah, depends on the depth of the integration with the supplier. Some you need to pull down, others are automatically pushed.
Yeah, cool. I'd like to know about the journey because people listen to this. It might be an electrician or a plumber or whatever listening to this, and that they might be the one towing around the 3 metre by 1 metre whiteboard in their trailer. I think there might be a better way of doing this. Let's check this out. What are the steps for somebody who's interested in? Obviously, they can go to the website, and I can see that you can book a free demo. But what can they expect to experience, and if they like it, what happens after that?
Yeah, so I highly recommend going out to market and having a look at each of the software players out there. Each have their own strength and weakness. But first of all, work out what you actually want, right?
Yeah.
do you just do a service workflow? And there's a lot of companies that just do a service workflow. They don't do projects. So you may not need the project component. Yeah. But if you're looking to grow into something, you may need that project component later on in life. And so therefore, why would you change systems? Um, you know, work out, the team that does the demo will also take you through each of those steps. They're really skilled demonstrators on how they talk to you about what you do with your business, and they'll take you straight to those areas of best bang for buck for your business. Also to check to see if, remember, systems like AroFlo not generic, but if you want specialist, then check the integrations that company has as well. So they're bolt-ons, and I call it developing your own ecosystem of, instead of having the old piece of software, the ERP that does everything but nothing really well. Then you can add on specialist piece of software where required with those integrations.
Yeah, excellent.
And using really simple middleware like Zapier and stuff like that is a really cheap and easy way to get other systems into your ecosystem.
Yeah, perfect. Support. I've done the demo. I've liked what I've seen. I'm now using the thing. I get confused easily based on my age. What sort of support can I expect to get? Do I get your home phone number and address? Can I drop round? How does it work?
Strangely, a number of people have, but no, we have full support 5 days a week. Our support agents, I put my hand on my heart and say it's one of the strengths of AroFlo is our level of support.
Yeah.
And also, too, the onboarding is important as well. So we help you onboard with a dedicated trainer to take you from to set up through to workflows, and also training the technicians on the field tool as well. So it's full service.
And what about just learning myself? I'm using it. Is there like a video library or some sort of support where I can learn how to do this, so I'm not sort of having to remember it from the last support call?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a full learning and development tool with videos, walkthroughs, all that sort of stuff for each component of the business, of the software, relating to your business. So you can just self-learn. A lot of people are right into self-learning because they can do it after hours. They can, if they want to do it on weekends, they can. But also too, when they're a little bit quieter in the office, you'll find a lot of admins, that's when they do their self-help stuff.
Yeah. One question that I haven't asked that I was trying to get myself to remember to ask a little bit ago. Within the organisation, let's say we're talking about a team of electricians or a builder and the employees or what have you. What's the communication or the facilities like to communicate within the business through this app? Is there a way of doing that? Something a little bit better than a chat, or how might that work?
Yeah, so with things like jobs and schedules and route planning and stuff like that, that's all done online. The jobs are pushed out to the technician. In most cases, the office know where that technician is, so they can push it to the next closest job. We are, and I suppose I'll let the cat out of the bag, we are getting very, very close to two-way SMS as well within the app, and that'll be coming out this year. But yeah, there's still a lot of communication with alerts and things like that, especially with project management. You can set alerts based on substatuses and things like that to tell the project manager needs to do this, one of the guys needs to do this needs to be doing, all that sort of stuff. Even down to with your fleet, we can set alerts to say, hey, servicing needs to have on this Hilux needs to happen as well. So there's a full range of communication tools in there.
Yeah, cool. The best way to get started, I'm assuming, is go to the website, which is aroflo.com, no AU.
No AU. We're born and bred in Ringwood, Victoria. There's 90 Yeah, there's 91 of us at
Wow.
this time right now, all in one location. So yeah, we're born and bred Australian, and that's where the the absolute most of our customer base is. So yeah, we're easily contactable. The team that will do the demo and things like that are really quite skilled in working out what you need.
Mm.
We're not a huge fan of just come on board and we'll see if you stick. Otherwise, it's a waste of your effort, our effort. They take a lot. They take a while to make sure that you're the right fit, and vice versa. For AroFlo, makes us a happier family and support later.
Yeah, brilliant. Peter, I've really enjoyed this conversation. As you know, self-admitting, I'm a bit of a nerd and a tech geek, and I like audio and microphones and all of that sort of stuff. Was a sound engineer in a past life, so I love all of this sort of stuff. And it's an absolute pleasure to speak with you and meet with you and learn about AroFlo. And so, yeah, I just wanted to thank you for putting the time aside for coming onto the podcast. It's been fantastic.
Great to meet you, and thanks for the opportunity.
Well, that's it, folks, for this episode of the Tool Shed. I encourage you to jump on the website. We'll put the link in the description to aroflo.com. Don't make the mistake that I did. It's not spelt like an arrow. It's just AROFLO.com. And go jump on the website, book a free demo, check it out. And we'd love to get your feedback. What do you think? How well does it work? Because we love to get your feedback about the things that we talk about on the podcast. So I hope this has stimulated your thoughts, given you a bit of inspiration as to how you can get rid of the 3 metre by 1 metre whiteboard out of the back of the ute and get something a little more organised that can fit in your pocket and is a whole lot more powerful too. So hope you enjoyed this episode of the Tool Shed podcast. We'll be back with another episode before you know it. I'm Mick Hawes from Builders Business Black Belt. That is all. I'm out. Bye for now.
You've been listening to the Tool Shed. If this podcast struck a chord with you, make sure you spread the word by sharing it with your mates in the building industry. We love your help to make the building industry better for everyone involved.